is the story of how we wound up taking our two small children to France. So, what happened is my phone rang. Hello. It was my best friend, Nick, and he said that he had found some amazing deals on plane tickets to Paris. We managed to talk in the husband that this was going to be a great idea. And it's very timely since we hadn't actually decided on a spring vacation. We tend to take a vacation in the spring and a vacation in the fall. What we had been kind of throwing around for ideas wasn't really sticking. We had decided that we were going to skip Disney for a little while because our passes had expired, and it honestly was just a little bit out of our price range to renew them, because we would be adding another pass because our 3-year-old or our 2-year-old had turned 3, so we'd have to get her own pass, which adds another $1,200 on top of the increase in the cost to renew the existing passes. So we had decided that we were going to skip it this year and do other things. So the entire fall, we talked about what we would do. We would need to plan. We need to start figuring out dates, all of those things. And so we finally decided that we had no idea what we were going to do. So when Nick called, we didn't really have any plans. We just knew that we were going to skip Disney for a while in an effort to save money. Maybe do some smaller things, local trips, go visit family who has places we can stay. And so instead of that, we spent a good chunk of change and went to Europe. We did, in fact, still do Disney. I'm going to share with you what we did and how we saved money. So I definitely always try to look for the best deal. I'm all about being able to do more, and I can do more if I keep more of my own money. Something that's really important when you plan travel is to know how you travel. Myself and Paul, we do not care about shopping. We're not huge, let's eat at, fancy restaurants. That's just not how we travel, which works out well, being that we mostly travel with our children, who, as you know, can be picky. But what we like to do is we like to get the most out of our money when we travel. So we want to see and do as much as we possibly can. We also really enjoy all of the touristy things. Are they tourist traps? Absolutely. But there's a reason. They're amazing things to see. So it's important to know your trip style. We are the go, do, come back from a vacation and absolutely need a vacation to recover. We sat down to figure out what our must-dos were. For Paul, he really wanted to see Versailles. For myself, the Louvre, of course, was very important. We knew if we were going to Paris with our children, that Disneyland Paris was definitely worth checking into. So once we had our list of things that we knew we wanted to do, it then makes it easier to look around and find a deal. It's also really important to know how much you can spend. We didn't set out like a budget for what we were going to spend ahead of time, but we also didn't spend ourselves into a hole, put anything on a credit card we couldn't pay off. It's never a good idea to travel if you can't afford the travel. And in that respect, you need to factor in things like transportation, food, souvenirs, those things that pop up unexpectedly. The trip details were a family of 4, 2 adults, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. We flew in and out of Houston. We went January 13th through January 21st. One of the things that really helps us save money is that we homeschool. And by homeschooling, we are afforded the opportunity to travel when a lot of other people aren't traveling. When deals are being offered, when it's off-peak season, you can save a lot of money by simply traveling when other people aren't traveling. This also helps us save money when we plan Disney World vacation. It is very handy to be able to travel when it's not spring break, Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, and summer break. The price for everything is always more expensive during those times. And it's busier. It's much nicer to be able to go to places when they're less busy. You feel like you get your money's worth that way. Even though in some cases, Disney World as well, the hours are much less when it is a less busy season, but you can do so much more with that time. It really makes up for it. That coupled with the savings is huge. So our flights, as I mentioned, we left out of Houston. We flew Southwest to New York City. We went into LaGuardia. We went out of New York City from JFK to Charles de Gaulle Airport. On the way back, we had a layover in Amsterdam back to JFK. JFK made it over to LaGuardia, and LaGuardia back to Houston. Our round trip flights from JFK to Charles de Gaulle were just over $1,300. We used Southwest points, both my own and Nick's, to cover our Southwest flights from Houston to New York. I believe we paid for one flight. Our total price, like dollars spent on flights, was $14.81. And then we also did use several thousand frequent flyer points, which is easy to earn if you have the Rapid Rewards credit card. Nicholas also travels a great deal for work, so he had a large bank of points for us to use, which he generously let us use. It took us a while to settle on a hotel. Let me just tell you that by knowing where you want to go, what you want to see, it can help you decide what area of town you want to stay in. We wanted to stay close to Central, but we also wanted to keep it under $200 a night so that it stayed much more affordable for us. We were willing to travel a little bit further as long as we could get free breakfast included and be able to keep it in our price point. Both headed to Paris, and on the way back, we had long enough layovers in New York that we stayed one night on either end of our Paris trip. Both of those hotels were Hilton. And again, Nick travels a great deal for work, so he's an honors member and had enough points to cover our rooms. So we did not pay out of pocket at all for those Hilton rooms. They also included free breakfast buffet, so we were able to eat breakfast without having to pay anything. Initially, Nick had booked our Paris hotel with his Hilton points as well. We'll come to find out twin bed really means twin bed in Europe, and we finally settled on the Novotel there in Paris, and it was the right price point. The distance to the city center was not too bad, and they were located pretty close to transportation so that we would be able to use public transportation and save some money that way. It also included fun things for the kids. The couch in the room folded down to 2 single beds, and so that was great for the kids. Had activities in the lobby. I wouldn't call it a family hotel. They did a very good job of welcoming families. I would say it's with small children. They did a fantastic job. And one of the perks that they did for us, they actually had our room ready when we arrived at 9 a.m. in the morning, which was fantastic because we had flown all night and the kids definitely needed sleep. So again, we did not pay for our rooms in New York. That was covered on Nick's travel points, but our hotel bill was $761 for 5 nights. Since we had added Disneyland Paris to our list of must-dos, that meant that we needed to do our research and figure out the best way to get those tickets. Disneyland Paris offers date-based ticket pricing. So in the middle of the week in January, they offer what's called a mini ticket, and it is only available online with pre-purchase, and it is the cheapest you can get a ticket to Disneyland Paris. The weekends are called something else I don't remember off the top of my head, but the mini ticket was when we were going to be there. So we were able to purchase a mini ticket from a licensed, certified, official Disney official ticket broker, 365tickets.com, $199 off of the Disneyland Paris website. So we traveled to Disneyland Paris, 5 adults and 3 kids one day, 2 adults, 2 kids the following day. Had I bought these tickets on the Disneyland Paris website, the cost would have been $852 for 2 days at Disney. But because I was able to use this official ticket broker and get them at a discounted price, I only paid $652. So we saved almost $200. It was just I think a quarter shy of $200. Something else that we did to save money was whenever possible, we would use mass transit, both in New York and in Paris. When we were not going to or from the airport, we purchased our subway tickets. In New York, we were able to just purchase a certain bank of number of rides, which was great because we weren't there very long. And then in Paris, we had done our research to determine which pass was better for our needs. And so Maryland was free. And that left just 3 passes to buy, 2 adults and 1 child. By using mass transit, our tickets, I'm not 100% sure how much they were, the passes, but it probably equated to 1 taxi ride per ticket. So it was a much better use of our money to be using the subways versus a taxi or an Uber. Because we enjoy museums, it was very convenient that children 18 and under were free in almost everywhere. Children 4 or under are free. So while we occasionally had to pay for our older kiddo, we did not ever have to pay for our younger kiddo to go in and do anything as far as museums go. One of the ways that we saved money on food is I packed my own snacks. So we took 3 suitcases with us to Europe for a family of 4, and one of them was about half full with packaged snacks. Granola bars, those Belvita breakfast cookies. We also took some electrolyte squeezies to put in our water bottles to give it flavor. Also packed fruit snacks for those emergencies when you need a treat. Free breakfast in all of our hotels. So breakfast was provided to us for free every day of our trip. Because we knew that we were going to be traveling prior to Christmas, we were able to get some help from the big guy as far as travel needs and things like that. We were able to use those purchases as a double. So gift and travel. The splurges was that when we were traveling to or from an airport, we took taxis. I did not want to try to navigate subways, turnstiles, any of that with stroller, luggage, children. That wasn't worth it to me. It was worth it to splurge, pay the taxis, tip the drivers, which were all wonderful, to be able to sit still in a smaller space and not have to worry about getting the stroller onto the train, off the train with luggage and the girls. So all in, everything that we paid, including $80 to the wonderful pet sitter who comes over and checks on our guinea pigs, we spent $4,838.06. And you may be thinking, wow, that sounds like an insane amount of money. But what I like to do what's called vacation value. So you take your total money spent, and then you divide it by the number of people. So the number of people that went was 4, so that comes out to $1,200 per person. And then you divide it by the number of days, which was 8. So really, we spent $151.19 per person per day, including airport parking, shuttle vans, transportation, food, and all of our entertainment. We absolutely could have saved more money and chosen more frugal things to do. But I am 100% pleased with the way that our trip turned out. I thoroughly enjoyed everything that we did. I really appreciated that we splurged for taxis to not have to lug the luggage. And I'm so excited that we got to go to both Disneyland Paris and Walt Disney Studios. We checked a lot of things off of our bucket list, and we didn't spend as much money as I thought we would. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and push the subscribe button below so that you can be the first ones to find out when we have more money-saving travel tips with the Suitcase Princesses.
Let's go ahead and address this. Yes, my hair color is different.